Hello everyone and blessed Sunday po. Welcome to our program Libreng Konsulta and I'm Dr. Ana York Bondok. Salamat po for joining us. Ang topic po natin today ay angkop na angkop because the vaccines are arriving. Ayan po ang magandang balita po natin. The COVID vaccines are arriving. Darating na po daw yung Sinovac and AstraZeneca by today daw and tomorrow. So, siguro po it's time for us to start our vaccine series. Actually, we started already a few weeks back with the first vaccine, which we called smallpox. Ano po? The title was the first vaccine, smallpox. And ngayon po, nag-start po tayo with a question and answer. Before we start the series, I just wanted to know po kung ano po ba talaga yung mga tanong ninyo. Kasi baka lecture ako ng lecture, ayaw nyo pala malaman yon. So just to get a flavor po kung ano po yung magiging tanong ng mga tao, I'm starting and kicking off the usapang bakuna, simple lang, with a question and answer po, which is, ask Dr. Ana, kahit ano po tungkol sa bakuna ay atin pong sasagutin. So, ako po, I'm a pulmonary specialist. I am an intensivist, that's a critical care medicine specialist, and an internist, that's internal medicine. I'm a graduate po of the UP College of Medicine. I spent 7 years in the United States. And currently, I'm also a former congresswoman, the wife po of Mayor J from San Luis, Pampanga. And I am an expert, according to me, on barangay matters. I'm also the mom po of a 8-year-old. 8 na po si Benji. And I'm happy to be here today to answer your questions and hopefully to share some of my knowledge po regarding vaccines, specifically those po for COVID. So I will invite you po. Meron po kami YouTube channel. Please help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Our YouTube is Dr. Ana York Bondok. And yung mga tanong nyo po, ilagay lang po sa baba. You can also put them in YouTube. Wala naman pong problema. And we will answer po all COVID vaccine, all COVID kahit hindi vaccine, and all kinds of questions. Unahin lang po syempre natin yung tungkol sa bakuna dahil yun po yung ating topic for today. So, okay guys, let's start. So, siguro bumati muna tayo before we go on to the first question. Ano konting bate? Ayan. Miss Rains, I cannot read it, so please help me.
From Mr. Denver Ayadawan, hello, gandang umaga, Doc. God bless you and your family.
Sir Denver, how are you? Opo, thank you.
From
Ay pala, if you are listening from a certain place, ilagay nyo lang po kung saan para mabati rin po natin yung mga kung saan galing po and your friends and relatives po doon. Okay? Miss Reina, please.
From Miss Adoracion Malyari Balingit, good morning po.
Hi ma'am, kumusta po? Blessed Sunday.
From Miss Kathy Rodriguez, hi, good morning, Doc. Ito na, Doc, meron ng first question. What are the possible effects of
question
vaccination?
na. Oh. What are the possible effects of vaccination? Tama ba po?
Yes po, Doc. What are the possible effects of vaccination?
Well, maraming ways to interpret this question eh. Ang tanong ko, are you asking about the effects po sa COVID? Are you asking po about the effects of the vaccination sa rates po ng pandemic? Or are you asking about side effects? So, dun muna tayo sa macro level. What are the effects of vaccination? Assuming po na magiging, and I'm hoping and praying po na maging successful po ang vaccine campaign po ng Pilipinas. And siguro what are the effects of vaccination as we have seen around the world? Okay? First of all, ang bakuna po is the number one, proven for many years. It's the number one reason po na bumaba po ang mga death rates. Or it's the number one public health initiative po na na-invento po ng mga tao. Okay, there is nothing that has brought down mga deadly diseases po like smallpox. As I mentioned, it is the first vaccine po to be one of the first and also the first disease to be eradicated. So that is the effect po of a successful vaccine um, campaign. The effect po ay talagang to save lives. So I would like to say, this is a beautiful first question kasi ang first fact po na mailalabas po natin dito is that vaccines save lives. At may proof na po tayo dito over so many years. I mentioned, wala na pong smallpox sa mundo. Ang dati po, ang daming namamatay. Smallpox was really a horrible disease po talaga. Nagbubulutong po yung mga tao and they just like literally died. After the vaccine, wala na po. And the last smallpox was in the 1970s pa po. Okay, so talagang malaking bagay yon. And in fact, the smallpox, the last living smallpox po, nakatago po sa CDC in Atlanta. So kumbaga, sinusi na po yon and there is no more smallpox in the world. So that is the number one effect po of a successful vaccine campaign. Other successful vaccine campaigns po, dati po, measles, ang dami pong namamatay ng measles noong unang panahon. Polio, my own tita got polio and she's already 65. Hanggang ngayon, maliit pa po ang kanyang paa, but we never see that anymore. Ako po, personally, I got chickenpox, pero dahil sa may bakuna na po ng chickenpox, hindi na po nagkaka-chickenpox sa mga tao. People used to get miliary TB. Anong miliary TB? Yung kalat talaga sa buong katawan. Because of BCG, wala na po. And then of course, we all know, pag kinagat ka ng aso, rabies, mamatay ka dyan. Okay? Tetano, ang dami pong namamatay. There is a tetanus vaccine. So what are the possible effects of the vaccine? If we are successful, and I'm praying to the Lord that it will be a success, the first possible effect is to stop the pandemic and to save many more lives. So I think that's a good effect. Ayun po. I hope I interpreted the question correctly. If you're asking about personal effects, pwede rin po natin pag-usapan, no? After you get vaccinated, talagang malaki po talaga yung, parang I think it will take a load off everybody's, yung lalo na ho, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, araw-araw po, may nagke-care kayo sa mga COVID patients. And kahit ho naka-N95 na kayo, there's always that risk. So, most of the vaccines, in fact, all of the vaccines that are now going around the world po at ginagamit, lahat po sila, ang ano po nila talaga, severe COVID and death from COVID, 95 to 100% protection. So, ang laking bagay po nun. So, I mentioned po yung worldwide implications po ng possible effects of vaccine, which is to save lives. Yung personal effect mo naman, biro mo, I mean, like, the thought of dying, nawala na yon by 95% to 98%. Ang laki nun na. So, talagang, parang mabubunutan ka talaga ng super laking tinik. So, that's what I could say about the effects of vaccines.
Okay, next po. That's clear, Doktora. Wait lang po natin.
Ang ganda ng oo.
From one of our viewers, from Miss Cynthia Dons, I hope I pronounce it correctly. Doc, my question is, since Sinovac will be available, for those who received 2 doses already, can they still get vaccinated again when a better high-efficacy vaccine arrives? Maganda yung tanong niya.
Si Ma'am Cynthia is the head of the diabetes support group. Hi, Ma'am Cynthia, and thank you. We interviewed this lady. She's really very dynamic. I think she's worried about the efficacy po ng Sinovac. Am I correct?
Yes po. Kung naka-receive na daw po ba ng 2 doses, tas may dumating daw po na mas high yung efficacy, can they take it, that high efficacy vaccine again?
Ito lang po ang sasabihin ko about Sinovac, okay? There is a misperception, misconception po that Sinovac is not as good as other vaccines. And I'd like to just correct that again by reading this chart for you. Sa Sinovac po, titingnan ko lang po uli. Maliliit lang po kasi. But Sinovac has been used successfully po in Indonesia, Turkey, and Brazil. And maganda po ang efficacy rate niya for very severe COVID po, almost 90% po. And for mild to moderate, yun po yung lumalabas na misconception po natin na 50%. And that's only in Brazil. Yung sa ibang places po, mas mataas pa po ang efficacy. So, ganito po yung sasabihin ko, no? For severe disease and death, Sinovac is really, really just right up there also. Okay? So, maganda po talaga ang protection niya for severe and death. Yun pa na lang ho, maganda na yun eh. Ngayon, for moderate and mild, may lumalabas pong 50%, may lumalabas pong 70%. Ito po sasabihin ko, no? There's tuloy a misperception that Sinovac is less, parang not as good as the others. But we cannot say that po, and I listened to so many experts on this. The only way po that we can say that Sinovac is worse than, say, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, whatever, to run the trial sabay. Pagtapatan po sila. What we are comparing are different trials po sa in other areas of the world and comparing them to each other. So nakuha niyo po yon. The only way that we can really say that Sinovac is worse than the others is halimbawa, i-contest natin sila sabay in one trial. Pero hindi po pwedeng may study dito, may study sa ibang portion ng mundo, tapos iko-kumpara mo po sila. That's wrong. Kasi for example, yung sa Brazil po na lumabas na 50% lang daw sila. Ang tanong ko, like, iba-iba kasi getting COVID kasi or knowing if somebody's gonna get COVID or not doesn't only depend po on the vaccine. Marami pa pong factors yon, like ano po yung ugali ng tao? Ano po yung trabaho niya? Lumalabas ba siya ng bahay o hindi? Nagsumusuot ba siya ng mask or hindi? Nag-iingat po ba siya o hindi? Okay? So there are a lot of factors aside from the vaccine that would say whether one would get COVID or not. So, and then there factors po sa iba't ibang bansa magkakaiba po kasi ang kultura po malaking bagay dito. So until we inject Sinovac and whatever other vaccines that you think are better than Sinovac together in one place with similar persons, mahirap po talaga nating sabihin na mas magaling ito kaysa sa ito. Ang importante po is the risk of death and the risk po of severe COVID goes down. Okay? At yun po ay malaking bagay na po for a vaccine. Ngayon, if you got 2 doses of Sinovac and you're still not happy, and you want to get another vaccine nung pag dumating, unfortunately, wala pa po tayong datos doon. I cannot tell you ho na you should do that or you should not do that. But what I can assure you po is Sinovac is not a perfect vaccine, but it is definitely an adequate vaccine, mas lalong-lalo na po for severe illness and death.
Okay. Sige po. Next po.
So, thanks, Ma'am Cynthia, for that question. Parang nagkakaroon po ng maling messaging nagko-confuse po yung mga tao. This comes about are brands important? Siguro maybe that's a good question. Is the brand that you're gonna get super important? Unfortunately po, it's a pandemic, okay? So we cannot hindi po laptop brand itong binibili natin, okay? So hihintayin po natin yung labas ni iPhone whatever number, okay? At kung ilang generation. Number 1, this is a pandemic. And number 2, it's a worldwide shortage. So number 3, if a decent vaccine arrives, okay na yun. Whether you can get another vaccine of your preference po in the future, Ma'am Cynthia, hindi pa po natin alam. And I guess we just have to wait po talaga for more data on that issue. Okay? Salamat po.
From Miss Kathy Rodriguez. Are there risks for complications when given the vaccines, like history of asthma?
Ma'am, depende po, most people say na, and most experts po would say na the only persons who are not supposed to get the vaccine are those with a history po of severe allergy, like na EpiPen na po kayo, okay? Or na ER. And those po with known allergies to components po of the vaccine. With regards to asthmatics, depends rin ho, gaano ho ba ka-serious yung asthma nyo? Wala naman po talagang, there is really no prohibition for asthma and COVID vaccines. Wait, let me check lang. There is, ayan, nakalagay po, no? From asthma. It depende po. I think it depends on the severity po ng inyong asthma. If it's extremely mild, I would talk to my doctor and then take it. And then if you're worried, you might take it po in a hospital. Pero siguro po, my best advice for you is to consult po your doctor kasi po, talagang individual po yun eh. Like halimbawa, natubo lang kayo last week, I would suggest mabakuna po kayo. There's a lot of gradations, but definitely po nakalagay dito, as soon as people with asthma are eligible for the vaccine, they should get it. And this is from the National Spokesperson for Allergy and Asthma in the US. Ayan. People with underlying medical conditions such as asthma can receive the COVID-19 vaccine as long as they have not had an immediate or severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or any of their ingredients. Okay? And though, according to the CDC, people with asthma may experience more severe symptoms if they get COVID-19. So, pag-isipan niyo po yun, if you don't want to get the vaccine, if you're an asthmatic, baka kung mas masama ho yung mangyari sa inyo kung ma-COVID naman po kayo. So, advice for people with asthma, number one, yes, wala naman ho talagang direct prohibition for those with asthma to get the vaccine. Kung kayo po ay talagang allergic sa vaccine or to any component po ng vaccine, siguro po pag-usapan nyo muna sa doctor nyo. And number three, depende rin naman ho on, like if you're having an ongoing asthma attack, wag naman po, no? If your asthma attack was like 3 years in the past at mukhang kalmado naman, then I would say yes, okay? So it really depends po on what's happening to you. Pero in general, if you're having an acute asthma attack, obviously, huwag kayong magpabakuna. If you've had a if it's like a very, very mild, okay. And the best thing is to inform po your pulmonologist that you intend to take a vaccine. Like if you're an asthmatic healthcare worker. Okay? Kasi po, just think, if you didn't get the vaccine at na-COVID kayo, mas grabe po yung mangyayari sa inyo dahil meron po kayong pulmonary underlying illness. So it's actually safer for you to get vaccinated. Okay?
Okay, next po. From Miss Aloha Big Bear Hug. Hello po, Dr. Ana from Macabebe, Pampanga. Ano-ano po ba ang side effect ng COVID vaccine? Salamat po.
Well, what are the side effects? Kasi we can, there's what we call po reactogenicity. Wag na natin masyadong mahirap eh. Ganito na lang. Most people kasi, after they get the vaccine, magbibigat po yung kamay nila. Some people might develop mild fever. Yung iba po manlalata. This is what we call, these are not actually side effects, but they are our body reacting to the vaccine. Anong meaning nun? What does that mean that our body is reacting to the vaccine? Our body is actually producing yung antibodies. So, parang may naiiba po sa katawan natin because our body is actually producing antibodies at that point. So, yung injection site, natural lang yun, na-injectionan po kayo and then your body will start to produce antibodies. That production po is the expected reaction po sa vaccine talaga. And some people might actually consider it good na nilagnat kayo o nanghina because it means that the immune system is working to produce the antibodies yung antibodies po, yun yung aaway sa COVID, and that is what we need. So, yun po yun. That's how you get the side effects. Okay? With regards po to the serious side effects, like meron ho bang mamamatay, yung mga ganun po. I read this article, I listened to this talk by Dr. Melvin Sanicas, Filipino vaccinologist based in Switzerland. Siya yung naging speaker natin doon sa Young Doctors. Ito lang sabi niya 111,000 na daw ang na-COVID and 2.5 million, uh, 111 million na daw ang na-COVID and 2.5 million ang namatay. Sa vaccines, humahabol na rin po. So many people have already been vaccinated din po at wala pa hong namamatay. So I think that's very important it's all a risk. Wala, I can't say na walang magiging reaction. Pero definitely what I can tell you is wala pa hong namatay. Sa COVID, 2.5 million na po ang namatay. Sa Pilipinas, 10,000 na po ang namatay. So, I guess we should think about that. And wala pa hong na-zombie, just in case you wanna ask. Wala pa po. And I have been asked that question. It's a serious question and many people are worried about it. I would like to tell you po na ang dami po talagang lumalabas sa social media, ganun po. And it's very important for us to be able to get proper informations from the government and from trusted sources. Please note, Facebook is not a trusted source.
From Miss May Guarin Ellie, good morning po, Doc Ana. Ask ko po if may allergies kayo. Kung may allergies po kayo, pwede po ba magpa-vaccine and what vaccine po ang pwede sa mga katulad ko? Salamat po sa sagot, Doc Ana.
What is your allergy, ma'am? Kasi sometimes people mistake, people, of course, they're not doctors, uh, totoong allergy ho ba to? What happened? Opo. With regards po dun sa vaccine po talaga, the only persons told not to take the vaccine are those po talaga with documented allergies to the COVID vaccine. And those po with talagang severe, like for example, natubo na po kayo, na ER na po kayo, na EpiPen na po kayo, discuss it with your doctor. And again, we must think po about the consequences talaga. I mean, what happens kung ma-COVID ka? Oh. So, yun po yun. I'll actually invite one of my friends who's an allergologist to talk about COVID and allergies kasi maganda to eh. And again, if you're really worried na magpabakuna ka dun sa opisina ng doktor nyo, your doctor naman is located most likely po in the hospital. So, in case anything happens, at least nandun na kayo. Kung talagang worried po kayo, have the shot done in a hospital. Okay?
From Miss
And the most
Aloha,
important po is to talk to your doctor regarding that.
from Miss Aloha Big Bear Hug, hello po. From Mr. Aldrey Cano Pinlac, good morning po, Doktora. From Miss
Hi, good morning.
from Mr. Joey Lacanilaw, good morning po, Doktora Ana.
Hi, si Joey. Kumusta po?
From Miss Barbie Tarok Olap, good morning po, Doktora.
Hi, Barbie.
From, I think, ito, nasagot na natin to, Doktora. From Miss
Sige,
Corazon,
sabihin mo lang.
hindi,
Anong
na-reflash
topic
lang po.
question?
Yeah. From Miss Corazon
Okay.
Belonga, good morning, Doc Ana, watching from CDO.
Kumusta po sa CDO, ma'am?
From Miss Ale Tuballes, one of our viewers, Doktora, safe ba ang COVID vaccine sa mga tulad ko na nagda-dialysis?
That's a good question po, no? I wanted to mention po that people who are on dialysis are at extreme risk po for severe COVID kasi po immunocompromised na po kayo. Marami na pong problema, no? We all know that. Kaya nga naka-dialysis eh. So people who are on dialysis, they have a lot of comorbid conditions. Most of them, the most common cause of dialysis is actually diabetes. So most likely they are diabetic. And the fact na po that they are on dialysis, may isa pong system sa katawan nila that's already not working well. So ano po, yung immune system nila mababa, And they are higher risk po na ma-ICU and possibly to die. Okay? And the second reason po that they are on ano po, a high risk is number two, isipin mo to aside from their underlying dialysis po, the fact that they have to go out of their house 3 times a week to go to the dialysis center. So, di ba, yung mga immunocompromised, we would advise them to stay at home. And these people, hindi sila makastay at home. Konting-konti lang po at sobrang expensive po yung home dialysis. Okay? So, they will go po to the dialysis center 3 times a week. So, yun pa lang ho, yung riding the public transport, hindi naman po tayo lahat may sasakyan. Going there, meeting other immunocompromised persons, talagang yung pa lang ho, risk na yun eh. Okay? Kasi if you have like a chronic disease, ang advice talaga is to stay at home. But if you have dialysis, you cannot stay at home because you need to be dialyzed, okay? So those are the two main issues po kung bakit yung dialysis patient a higher risk. Number one, yung sakit, yung actually three reasons eh. Yung pagka-dialysis nila, their kidneys not working. Number two, kaya nga sila na dialysis, usually they're diabetic, hypertensive, ang dami na hong ibang sakit, okay? The comorbids. And then number three po, yung the physical act of leaving your house and meeting so many people there in the dialysis center. Problema na po talaga yon. And then, sige, lagay pa natin, number four, most of those who are undergoing dialysis are in the older age group. So, meron naman hong bata, okay? So, apat po yun. Yun na lang ho yung pagsama mo, that's already a harbinger po for serious COVID. So, as long as the dialysis patient is okay, wala naman pong sobrang going on. What I mean is okay, yung relatively healthy. Ang advice po ng mga nephrologists in the States and all over the world is get the COVID vaccine. Kasi po kung ma-COVID kayo at kayo po ay may hypertension, diabetes, matanda na, yung kidney nyo hindi gumagana, ICU-able po talaga kayo. So yun lang po. I would highly discuss this with your nephrologist and kung kayo po ay tawagin na po ng gobyerno and the nephrologist says okay, go na po kayo sa bakuna.
From Mr. Aldrin Alteza, good morning po. Marami po ang taong natatakot magpa-vaccine. Paano po ba mawala ang takot nila at ma-encourage na magpa-vaccine? Salamat po.
Napakaganda pong tanong ito. Thank you so much for this question. It's really beautiful. And I think that is something that each and every doctor, each and every nurse, and actually each and every Filipino must think about. How can we get the courage to move forward with the vaccine? And how can we convince our friends and family members to take that same courageous step? Okay. Let's go worldwide muna. Okay? Who are the people in the world who have been vaccinated? Well, si Pope Francis po was vaccinated. Hindi na po bata si Pope Francis, ano? So, despite that, he took the risk and he actually said po that being vaccinated is a moral choice. What is the meaning of moral? Ang meaning po nito is we are being vaccinated not only for ourselves. Yes, of course, we're being vaccinated to protect ourselves, but also being vaccinated to protect other people. In other words, yun po ang tamang choice. The former Pope po, si former Pope, buhay pa po siya, no? He was also vaccinated. Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and Joseph Biden po, the President of the United States, was vaccinated. So, I guess that's also good na meron tayong tinitingalang mga tao were vaccinated. But on a personal level po, although I heard about that, it was very tumatak po sa akin. Ito more than the Pope and everything. Tumatak po sa akin when my classmates po, who are doctors in the States, posted po yung personal pictures nila. So sometimes it matters po talaga na kilala mo po yung nabakunahan, you know them, you have a personal relationship with them, like yung mga relatives nyo po in abroad, sino ba naman ang walang kamag-anak ngayon sa Amerika, ano po. It might help you to have a conversation po with your relatives in the States. Ask them, tita, tito, nay, tay, ano po ang naramdaman nyo? Ano po ang advices nyo sa amin? So sometimes, even though mga influencers, yung personal influencers po natin and personal people that we know can give us a lot of confidence po, okay? And then number three po, yung proper informations. Ako aminin ko, I still feel that the government should do more po to educate persons. And kulang na kulang po yung ating education campaign and to develop trust po. Kasi kung wala po tayong trust sa gobyerno, sa bakuna, sa science, sa medicine, eh wala po talagang magpapabakuna. And again, another way po is to learn the consequences po of not being vaccinated. Being vaccinated po is a choice. So, pinili niyo po yon to be vaccinated. Ako po, pipiliin ko to be vaccinated. Ngayon po, kung pinili niyo po na ayaw niyo pong magpabakuna, choice din po yun at may consequences. Ano po yung consequences nun? Number one, you are personally not protected. And if you get COVID, kung hindi nyo po rin pinabakuna yung pamilya nyo, your family is also not protected. And then on the bigger level po, uh, we are not helping, hindi lang not helping nagiging balakid po tayo sa recovery ng Pilipinas because the more people who don't get vaccinated, the slower po that we can get out of this pandemic. And then number four po is if you decide not to get vaccinated, mas marami pa pong taong mamamatay and mas marami pa pong taong mahihirapan because there are economic consequences din po at grabe po yon dito sa pandemic na ito. So how we convince people? Well, we can tell them na all these important people got vaccinated. But the more important, I think, is yung personal influencers po. Yung mga kamag-anak niyo po sa UK, US na nabakunahan na po. In fact, the first vaccine in UK was given po by a Filipino nurse. So I thought that was powerful. And then number three po, yung trusted sources po. And I hope the government will put up po a better information campaign regarding vaccines. And again, no, each and every one of us has the duty. Kung talagang desidido po kayong magpabakuna, i-share nyo po sa mga tao. Kasi baka nananahimik lang po sila, they're actually scared. And for example, kayo po ang ate sa pamilya o kayo po yung kuya. Kayo po ang tititingala. Even in your own family, you can make a big difference po. Okay?
From Mr. Pedro Simbulan, Doktora, safe po ba talaga ang COVID-19 vaccine? Another question, may side effect po ba?
Well, Sir Pedro, let me put it this way. Walang gamot po na walang side effect. Meron pong nagkaka-liver failure from paracetamol. What's paracetamol? That's biogesic and Tylenol. Okay? So talagang I can't tell you that there will be no side effects, but what I can tell you is out of the million na po rin na nabakunahan, wala pa naman hong namatay. Okay? Wala pa rin hong namatay. So that alone is a big that alone is a big kasi marami na hong nabilaukan sa pagkain okay? Pero sa vaccine wala pa. Number two, what I can tell you is, in the whole world po, I would say all the scientists and all the doctors in all the countries in the world, nakatutok po talaga yung mga mata nila. Kung may mangyayari po talaga, I promise you it will be reported in 1 second. Tapos sa dami pa naman ho ng mga Facebook, etc., ikot po yun around the world. So marami na hong, and this is kind of good marami na rin hong mga countries na nabakunahan ahead of us. Indonesia has been part of the trial po for Sinovac. Wala naman po tayong narinig na nag-collapse at namatay na 100,000s of Indonesians. Okay? So, malaking bagay po, actually, di ba marami nagagalit, but nauna yung ganito, nauna yung ganyan, nauna. Well, on the other hand, at least nalaman natin, walang naging zombie sa UK, wala pong naging zombie sa US, wala naman pong umiikot na zombie sa Israel. So, sometimes it's good to be a little late. I didn't mean late na late, pero a slight delay might be good. So I cannot tell you po that it is 100% safe. Kasi wala naman ho talagang 100%. Okay? But what I can tell you is, it was really studied po by all the scientists in all the world. Yun po.
That's a very good explanation, Doktora. Napakalinaw. Okay, from Miss Rose Enaria. Doktora Ana, I am a police officer of this municipality and I am pregnant. Question, is it safe po kaya the vaccine for pregnant woman?
Um, that is a really good question, ma'am. And ako po, as far as I know, no, I'm not really, siguro po we should address this sa mga OB talaga. Pero what I could see po is for pregnant persons po, the risk of getting COVID is more dangerous po than the non-pregnant po na ano po na sorry I just read this kay Dr. Sani kasi mas mataas po yung rate po, yung seriousness ng COVID from a for example na okay ganito. Let's say there's a police sa San Simon who's the same age as you. Sabihin na po nating 25 po kayo. At may pulis po sa San Simon na 25, okay? Kayo po buntis, yung tiga San Simon, hindi po siya buntis. So, same age, same police, okay? Kayo pong dalawa na COVID. Awa ng Diyos, that will not happen. What I can tell you po is that the pregnant person will have a higher risk of having a serious COVID than the non-pregnant person. Okay? So, talagang risk po talaga ang pregnancy for COVID. So, whether or not you should take the COVID vaccine, hindi po ako isang OB. But I would definitely discuss this with my OB and siguro po I should guest an OB here. But what I can tell you is, if the OB said yes, I would get it. Okay? Kasi mas malaki po yung risk na ma-COVID po kayo versus another police officer who's 25 years old who is not pregnant. Okay? Let me just research this a little more.
While you're researching, Doktora, mai-add ko lang, no? Diba kasi ang mga pregnant women, Doktora, tama po ba ako? Kahit saan naman pong sakit, mas higher ang risk nilang mag-acquire ng sakit kasi bumababa ang kanilang immune system when they're pregnant. Isn't that right? Okay.
And if I were pregnant, ma'am, I definitely would not leave my house. That's what I could say. Kung ako po ay pregnant, hindi po talaga ako lalabas ng bahay ko kasi talagang yung risk po talaga ng COVID sa buntis po is higher than the risk of COVID po sa hindi buntis. Pero again, when you are pregnant talaga, when you are pregnant, no choice po talaga kayo kung hindi pumunta po sa mga, you have prenatal checkups eh. So, nakalagay, technically, I'm researching this po, technically, the coronavirus vaccine is not approved for pregnant persons. So we still have to wait for that. However, sa US daw, thousands of pregnant women have decided to take the corona vaccine anyway. At pinag-aaralan din po sila. And nakalagay po dito, as per the CDC, wala naman ho daw silang naging significant safety issues. But again, I would discuss this po again with my doctor. Okay? So may nabakunahan na pong mga pregnant sa ibang bansa. So far, they seem to be okay. With regards to the Philippines, pag-usapan po muna natin with our OB. Okay?
From Miss Gina
But again,
sorry,
if you're
Doktora.
pregnant, please mag-ingat. Kasi yung risk mas mataas. Okay lang.
Okay, yes. Kung ako din, at sana wag naman, at kung ako rin ay pregnant ngayon na time of pandemic, I would not sacrifice the health of myself and also of the baby that I am having inside me. So, yun lang
Pero
naman.
Reyna, ito lang yun lang ang masasabi ko. As a pregnant person, you have to go to the hospital. You will be encountering people kasi you have to do the prenatal eh. So, it's not possible to just stay at home unless makahanap ka ng OB and magdadala ng ultrasound sa bahay mo. Parang wala. So, may exposure risk pa rin talaga sila. And again, some people have to work, period.
That's right. That's right, Doktora. Tama kayo sa sinabi nyo. Pag pregnant ka, better be inside your house. lalo na ngayon.
Kung
So
pwede. Eh, kung wala ka namang
I
kakainin na,
I approve of that. Okay, next question.
yun lang. Yes.
This slash from Miss Gina Gonzalez Parenya. Good morning po, Dr. Safe po ba yung vaccine sa mga bata? Ayan na.
Wala pa po talagang data on kids. Okay? There's really not much data on kids. Pero ito naman ang sasabihin ko. Most of the children in the Philippines have been gotten sick of COVID from exposure po from family members na lumabas ng bahay because they had to work. Okay? So if you vaccinate po those na lumalabas, the kids will be more or less okay. But again, wala pa akong data sa kids. So we will have to wait for that. Opo.
Okay, from Miss Ice Milior. Good morning po, Doktora.
Hi.
From Miss Aloha Big Bear Hug. Bakit po, Dok, nabakunahan na pero nagpa-positive pa po sila sa COVID? Maganda yung tanong niya,
Ay,
Doktora.
napakagandang tanong yan. Yes, and this happened to my classmate who got COVID one day after being vaccinated po sa US. No, 2 days after being vaccinated. At marami po. Ito po yung proseso po nang nangyayari during a COVID vaccination. Ano po? So, ito lang kasi some people, there's a misconception pala. I didn't even know this. There's a misconception, and I'm gonna find out kung talagang totoo to, na yung vaccine ang lalaban sa COVID. Hindi po ganon. What is going to happen po pag nabakunahan po kayo? Papasok yung bakuna dito, no, in your arm or what? And then it will ano po trigger a reaction in your body na magpro-produce po yung inyong white blood cells ng antibody. Etong antibody to, ito yung kalaban ng COVID pag na-expose ka ngayon sa totoong COVID. Okay? So, it takes time for your body to produce antibodies, or it takes time for the white blood cells to produce antibodies. Okay? At the antibodies, nasa dugo po yon, produced by the white blood cells in your blood. Yung antibody na yon, yun yung sundalo na pag dumating na yung totoong COVID, makikipagbakbakan na si antibody doon. Okay? So, ito po. So, day 1 na bakunahan ka. Okay? But, you need to build up those antibodies. How fast, hindi po natin. We don't really measure it at so, yung ilang araw. But definitely po, it will not all happen on day 1. It is a recruitment process. Yung bakuna po will induce the body to produce more antibodies, and then parang nare-recruit pa ho para dumami ng dumami po yung antibodies nyo at lumakas ng lumakas. So may araw po ito, okay? And in fact, that's why there are 2 doses, kasi we do not reach the maximum protection until we get the second dose. So may percentage lang po si first dose, and yung highest percentage po after the second dose na may protection kayo. So isipin nyo tong scenario to. Araw na nabakunahan ka, okay, yung kasama mo sa jeep, may COVID pala. Inubuhan ka. By mistake, okay? Nakamask ka, may konting pumasok. Okay. So nabakunahan ka, no? But you don't have enough antibodies yet. So, na-expose ka sa COVID, it's possible magkakaroon ka ng COVID. Okay? So, those are the reasons po that sometimes people get positive after the first dose kasi po they haven't reached the maximum protection of the second dose. Pero I would like to say this naman, kung sakaling na COVID ka after getting the first dose, kahit papano po, may antibodies na kayo. So most of the people po who have had COVID after the first dose, naging mild lang po. And again, is it possible to get COVID after the second dose? Yes, it is still possible kung talagang super malas ka. Kasi hindi naman 100% yung protection, hanggang 90 lang, 95. And again, isa pa, yung 19 to 95 na yun po, were taken po in the laboratory. In the real world, yun po yung tinatawag nating efficacy. Pero yung effectivity, that is pag umiikot ka na, wala ka ng mask, nakikipag-inuman ka na, so hindi siya talaga magiging 99%. And may risk pa rin po yun. Pero again, 99 or 90 or 95 or even 50% is still better than zero protection. So, yun lang po. Ay,
From
wait.
Miss,
Question
sorry.
lang. Reina,
Sige po.
before we ano lang, malinaw ba? Am I like so malalim or so
Mm.
mababaw or do you get the point?
Ay, malinaw po, Doktora. Very clear na hindi ko na kailangang, kasi pagka sa expert ka talaga magtanong or i-google mo, okay, ganito lang siya, Dok. Pag ginoogle mo yung answer sa question mo regarding vaccine, ang dami. Bubulagta lahat ng mga information sa iyo, bubulaga lahat yun sa screen mo. Pero ikaw na isa-isa mo siya per question. So, I think it's clear. Ayun po. It's very clear po.
Okay. If you want another explanation, mag-ano ka pa dyan ng mga tanong. Okay?
Sige po. We have a question here and I think it's a beautiful question from Miss Annalyn P. Mangubat. I'm a breastfeeding mom. Safe po ba magpa-vaccine for COVID-19?
Um, Again, I'd advise you to talk to your doctor kasi hindi naman po sinama talaga yung mga breastfeeding dun sa trial eh. Um, Nakalagay po dito from the CDC, no, messenger RNA vaccines, ito po yung ito po yung Pfizer and Moderna are not thought to be a risk to the breastfeeding infant. So if you are breastfeeding po and part of a group recommended to receive COVID-19, halimbawa po you're a breastfeeding nurse, so healthcare personnel po yun, you may choose po to be vaccinated. But again, kausapin nyo lang po muna yung pedya nyo before you do anything. Okay?
Okay, from Miss Kunana and Joanna. Good morning po, Dr. Ana York Bondo. From
Good morning po, ma'am.
May Guarin Eli. What about allergies po, Doktora? Pwede ka ba magpa-vaccine kapag may allergy ka?
Maganda pong tanong yun kasi a lot of Filipinos and a lot of not only Filipinos, a lot of lay persons and even a lot of doctors mistake a lot of things for allergies when they are not actually allergies. Like halimbawa, sumakit yung ulo after eating something, allergy na daw yun. Hindi ganun eh. Um, Eto lang, if you are a true allergic person, what is the meaning of a true allergic person? Someone who was rushed to the emergency room po in full allergy attack, na talagang yung mata nyo sumarado na ganun po. Ano? Number two, you are known to be severely allergic to some components, it would be the best po to talk to your doctor. So, ang advice ko talaga, if you are allergic and you're worried or you don't know if you're allergic or not, it's best po to get vaccinated in the doctor's office after talking to the doctor. So, kung may mangyari, nasa hospital ka na. Again, people with asthma and stuff like that, they're advised to get vaccinated po.
From Miss Kathy Rodriguez, can you get COVID after vaccine? They said though it's rare, you can still catch COVID-19 after getting vaccinated.
Opo, yes ma'am, like I explained po before, after the first dose po, it takes really time po for your body to produce antibodies. Where are the antibodies? Okay, what are antibodies? Yun po yung soldier cells. Yun po yung lalaban pag dumating na po si COVID sa katawan nyo. Okay? Because we have never been exposed to COVID, most of us have zero antibodies. We have no soldier cells sa COVID. So pagdating po ng COVID, dun pa lang po nag-form yung body mo and it will be late. So once you get vaccinated po, your body will form the soldier cells. But it takes time. Hindi po siya in 1 hour, 1 minute. So during that time po na your body is formulating the soldier cells, you could be exposed to COVID and develop COVID. And then again, even after the second dose, wala naman hong nakalagay na 100% protection. Nakalagay lang po talaga high level of protection. So baka ho kayo mahulog dun sa 1%, 2%, 3% na hindi po ganun kataas po yung inyong level. So you could still get COVID, but it will be rare. It will be rare. At saka nga po, if you do happen to get COVID, the protection po talaga for severe disease and death mataas. So if ever you do get COVID, most likely po it wouldn't be that serious.
From Miss Marilyn De Jesus Cortez, kapag po ba nabakunahan na in full dose, may chance pa rin po ba siyang mag-positive sa RT-PCR test?
So the meaning po, if somebody becomes positive in an RT-PCRs, means that that person can get COVID. Ano po? I'm assuming that you're meaning that that person got COVID. Yes, it is possible. Because wala pa hong bakuna that is 100% protective. Pero rare na rare po. Rare na rare.
Okay, from another viewer, from my best friend, may namatay daw na nurse sa Indonesia after vaccination. Paano na yon?
Eto lang po, that nurse died of COVID reportedly, no? So yun nga po, you can get COVID. Ito lang I would like to clear this up na baka hindi ko naliunawagan. You will not get COVID from the vaccine. Okay? It's not the vaccine that's gonna give you COVID. Kasi all of the vaccines po, yung iba, inactivated vaccine. So, wala, ano, parang like a dead vaccine po yung iaano sa inyo. Yun po yung Sinovac. That's like an inactivated vaccine. That is a very, very old technology na po, tried and tested. And you cannot get COVID from an inactivated vaccine. The others po are ano, mga proteins na i-inject, messenger RNA. Again, you cannot get COVID from the vaccine. You will get COVID po if you meet a person with COVID at inubuhunan po kayo. Okay? So I just wanted to clear that up, Reyna. Kasi baka hindi ko naliwanagan kasi baka some people will think you got COVID after the first dose from the vaccine. Hindi po. You got COVID because you met someone with COVID. Kasi after the vaccine, you're still going around naman. You have to go to the palengke, you have to go to the bank, you have to go to your job. So you are still exposed po sa COVID. And it is entirely possible po na may uubo po o may hihinga po sa direksyon ninyo. Lalo na if you don't wear a mask. So, nakuha mo ba yon, Reyna? Kat?
Yes, doktora, napakalinaw po. Napaka-practical.
Oo, hindi po tayo, opo, hindi po tayo nagka-COVID from the vaccine. Yung mga taong yun, ito, yung sa kaklase ko, and I'm not mentioning her name because she just mentioned that to us on a personal basis. Pero ang kwento niya po sa amin is their office, one day after the vaccine, nag-absent po yung kanilang office personnel. All of them, I think, siya ang nabakunahan, the others, yung kanilang midwife, nagka-COVID. And the midwife affected the entire practice. Mga doktor ito So, ano po, my classmate did not get COVID from the vaccine. She got the COVID from the midwife. Okay, guys?
Okay, from
So, yun lang po yung nililinaw ko. Kasi baka hindi, kasi as a doctor, kasi I'm presuming na alam nyo yun eh. Baka yung tinatanong nyo kung na-COVID ba yung mga tao doon sa bakuna, definitely po hindi.
from Miss Marilyn De Jesus Cortez. Doktora, kindly discuss in very short layman terms po, difference ng antigen and antibody.
Ay, ang ganda po niyan. That is something that I've always wanted to discuss, but I didn't think na baka masyadong mahirap eh. So I'll just make it malinaw lang po. Kat, di ba may picture ako na antigen and antibody? I don't know if you can show it. Okay lang kung hindi. Okay. Ma'am, yung antigen po, what is the antigen? Yung antigen po, yun po yung nasa sakit. That is in the COVID particle, the COVID virus. These are proteins po na that are parang characteristic. Yun ho yung spike sa labas. So yung, di ba the picture is like there's a ball and there's mga palabas-labas. Yun pong spike na yon, that's the antigen. And that is a protein very characteristic po to the coronavirus or the COVID-19 virus. So yun po si antigen. Okay? Yun po yung nasa virus. Ngayon si antibody, yun po yung ginagawa ng ating white blood cells. At yun po yung panlaban po dun sa virus. So, okay, pumasok si COVID-19 sa katawan mo. Pumasok dito, nalanghap mo, went to the lungs, attacked a cell, attacked a lung cell, and pumasok. Okay? So, nandun na siya sa loob ng lung mo. Kakalat po siya, it will produce more and more viruses inside the lung cell. And then, ngayon, maa-alert ngayon yung katawan mo. Aha, merong hindi dapat nasa loob ng katawan ko. So, the white blood cells will recognize po the antigen or the protein or the spike that is around the COVID virus. And ngayon po, there's a series of events that will cause them to produce po antibodies. Si antibodies ngayon will come out of the white blood cells and fight ngayon the COVID virus. So magkakaroon po ng laban sa katawan nyo. That is the antibody fighting the antigen. And specific po yon. So, the antibody is formed in reaction to the antigen. Maglalaban po sila. And if the antibody manages to kill all the COVID viruses, then you will survive. If however, mas marami po talagang viruses, kaya malaking issue po yung virus load eh. Kung marami po talagang pumasok sa katawan nyo or mabilis pong kumalat or mabagal po yung immunity nyo, mabagal kayong mag-produce ng antibody, mananalo po yung virus at kayo po, you will get severe illness and possibly die. So yun po yun. The antigen is unique to the virus. The antibody po is the response of the body na ginagawa po para labanan po si antigen. And and this is also related to the testing, Reina. The antigen, yun ang early kasi yun po yung unang pumasok sa katawan eh. Ngayon si antibody, late kasi fino-form pa siya in reaction to the antibody. At maglalaban po yan. And that is will determine whether you will survive the infection or not. Nakuha niyo ho ba yun?
Yes, Doktora,
So,
very,
very mababaw. So, okay, this is the principle po of vaccinology. Okay? This is the principle po of why we give vaccines. And why there is a pandemic. Why is there a pandemic? Kasi the COVID is new. First time pong nakita sa buong mundo at sa lahat ng tao. First time pong pumasok yung antigen na yon sa katawan ng tao. So lahat po ng tao sa buong mundo walang antibody. So do you get that? Unlike yung mga dating sakit po, because we encounter them in small, on a daily basis, like some of us, marami na sa atin, may antibody ng measles, antibody ng mumps, antibody ng ganito, antibody ng ganon. So pag nagkasakit tayo, may antibody na tayo. Aside from the fact na meron din tayong memory cell. Aha, nakita ko na yung measles na yan dati. So laban na sila. Hindi ka magkakasakit. Ngayon, kaya nga nagkaroon ng pandemic kasi we are what we call zero antibody talaga kasi bago eh. So yun po yun. So the whole world has no antibody. Ngayon, what is the principle po of vaccinology? Ang principle po ng vaccinology is to inject something into the body. Whether it is an inactivated virus, whether it is parts of the virus, whether it is the messenger RNA that will make the antigen, basta may papasok po sa katawan natin. That is through the vaccine. And then, akala po ng katawan natin na yun na po yung sakit. Pero actually, hindi, okay? Parts lang po ng virus or dead virus. So, what is the reaction po ng body natin? It is to produce antibodies. So, pag nabakunahan ka, your body will produce antibodies to either the inactivated virus or parts po ng virus or antigen po. So, tapos na yun. So, may antibody ka na sa katawan mo because of the bakuna. Ngayon, halimbawa, dumating na po yung totoong COVID, ready na yung katawan mo na lumaban kasi may antibody ka na. Kasi nag-form ka na ng antibody from the bakuna. Ngayon, kung hindi ka nabakunahan, wala ka antibody. So, pagdating ni COVID, hindi ka ready. Samantala, kung nabakunahan ka, you have antibodies stored there in your body, you have memory cells. Aha, nakita ko na yan. Ganon. Laban, mga kapatid. Ayun, so the moment the COVID arrives, let's say somebody coughed on you na may COVID, laban kagad yung katawan mo, hindi ka magkaka-COVID. Or if ever, mild lang. Kasi marami ka ng panlaban. Whereas, kung pumasok yung COVID sa katawan mo and you're a totally non-vaccinated person, you have not even one antibody. Ni isang antibody, wala ka. So that's the meaning when people say 50%. I'd rather have 50% of the antibodies kesa sa zero. Yun. So yun, a vaccinated person and a non-vaccinated person. A vaccinated person has formed, hopefully, the antibodies against the COVID. The non-vaccinated person has zero antibody talaga, as in zero. At mag-uumpisa ka pa lang sa zero the moment the COVID enters your body. Samantalang kung bakunado ka, mag-uumpisa ka, may panlaban ka na. Nakuha niyo ba yun?
Yes, Doc. Nakuha po namin. Napakalinaw po.
So, nakuha mo ba yun, Kat? Si Reyna kasi isa nurse eh. Baka naman mas marami siyang alam eh. If you think you know, just put a thumbs up, okay? Para ma-feel lang namin. Of course, we will never use the vaccine to prevent COVID. Gagawin na po yun.
Okay. Doktora, okay pa po ba tayo? Inuulan tayo ng tanong.
Oo nga, my gosh. Inuulan tayo ng
Oo.
tanong. Marami
Sobrang
pa ba? Ay, naka 1 hour 50 out na
madami.
ata tayo.
Madami.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Okay, ganito na lang, okay? Hindi, ganito na lang. Ganito na lang. Let's do the last two questions kasi it's a Sunday, guys. We have to eat. And then let's do another session within this week. Yung mga tanong po na nandyan, idadalin po namin to the next session.
Yes.
Don't worry, we won't forget your question. Okay?
Yes. Okay, last two questions, Kat.
Okay po. Let's see about this.
From Miss Nat Flores Liwanag. Hello, Doctora. My family wanted me to be the last to be vaccinated because I have really bad allergies. As in, even sa Nafarin A lang, I get allergies pa din.
Ma'am Nat, ganito ang advice ko sa iyo. Visit an allergologist at pag-usapan niyo po yung mga option niyo. Okay? If you truly feel that you're allergic and you really have bad allergies, I think yung documented ay hindi yung kwentuhan lang. Visit an allergy specialist at masinsinang kwentuhan po yan and consultation. That is what I could suggest to you.
Okay, next question. Last.
If you need an allergy specialist, ask me. I can give you one.
Yes.
St. Luke's, Global.
Mm-hmm. From Mr. Jason Alegria Silaran. Hi, Doc. Ask ko lang po if yung side effect po ba ng bakuna, pwede rin lumabas ng 2 to 5 years mula nang mabakunahan. Hindi po ba siya makakasama sa ibang internal part ng katawan natin? Salamat po, Doc.
Well, you know what, Sir Jason? Yes, I agree. It can happen 2 to 5 years from now. It can happen 10 to 20 years from now. Kaya lang, you could die from COVID between 2 to 5 years and between 10 to 20 years. So what can I tell you? Lahat po na talaga ng gamot may side effects. And ito lang. This might be very interesting. Kasi dati, okay, konti lang yung mga taong kumukuha ng gamot. 'Di ba? So, because only a few people take the gamots or it will take a long time for it to see the side effects. Kaya lang sa dami ho ng kukuha ng bakuna, lalabas ho talaga 'yon. Kung meron ho talaga, lalabas yon. And then number two, there has been no vaccine in the world that has ever been lahat po ng scientists sa lahat ng country ng mundo, I promise you, ito yung pinagtatrabahuhan nila ngayon. Inabandon na nila yung TB, inabandon na nila yung cancer, heart disease. Nakatutok lahat po talaga ng tao muna dito sa bakuna ng COVID. So I can promise you na yung pinakamatalinong tao po talaga sa Pilipinas and in the entire world are studying this COVID vaccine. Wala na po talaga sigurong mas inaral pa sa buong mundo rather than at this point dito sa COVID na to. Na kung may mangyayari between 2 to 5 years, kasama nyo naman po si Pope Francis. Okay?
Okay, that's all that we have for today, Doctora. Meaning,
so ganito na lang po. Tomorrow,
yes
tomorrow
po.
We'll do Parang siguro basics po talaga ng bakuna or ABCs of bakuna or five things you need to know, something like that po. And then after that, later in the week, uulitin po na naman natin itong vaccine Q&A para masalak po talaga natin lahat. Also, I'm getting a feel po of the things that you are concerned about. So I'll even read more po about it. So I can tell you. And then mag-invite din po tayo ng mga experts po talaga to give us their opinions po on vaccines, at yung kanila pong specialties. Okay? So sa inyo pong lahat, thank you so much. I am so excited and thankful po sa pagdating po ng mga bakuna tomorrow. In fact, baka nasa airport na ngayon, we don't know. But let's just praise the Lord. This is an extraordinary achievement po talaga for mankind kasi nagtulungan talaga ang buong mundo. And I'm really praying po na this will start the end of the pandemic. Okay? So sa inyo pong lahat, magandang blessed Sunday and a good afternoon po. Thank you. Kain na tayo ng lunch. Salamat po.